What's up, nerds? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are on Gunnersville Lake in Huntsville, Alabama. Paul, what the heck are we doing way down here?
We're fishing? Well, we're right now we're pre-fishing for a tournament that we're gonna be in tomorrow, which leads me to my next point, which is probably a 20-minute point around what are the critical things that you need to be prepared for success in a fishing tournament. This is really specifically for kayak fishing. We understand that like bank fishing, kayak fishing, and like boat fishing, those are all three different things, right? So this is specifically for you kayak fishermen out there.
So if you ever thought about doing a tournament, especially if, let's say, because we're following KBF rules, you want to do a KBF tournament, or you go onto the Fishing Chaos app and you check out one of the millions of tournaments on there, you got to follow the rules, you got to be prepared, you got to be safe, and you got to have the stuff that you need to be tactical to catch some fish. So this video is all about that. Let's dive right in. So first of all, don't forget your kayak. That's it, you guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
You will have success on this.
So obviously you need a boat, so make sure you have a kayak that is appropriate for the water that you're fishing. And I call that out because we're on a very big lake. So if I came out here with a very tiny sun dolphin and I'm paddling, I'm gonna have a rough day. If I'm on a pedal kayak or a motorized kayak, I might have a better day. Now, if you're doing a tournament on a small body of water, you can dress down the kayak, you can have a smaller rig, all that stuff is great. So just want to call that out, very important. So you want to get yourself out there, you want to get a chance to pre-fish it if you can, and you're gonna want electronics. Now, I'm not gonna say you have to have live scope, because you definitely don't. Go with whatever is appropriate in your electronics budget, but it will help a lot. You can get down imaging, even side imaging, that can be so helpful to find these fish, to know if you're like hooking into weeds and logs instead of actual fish. And also, if you can see what the fish are doing, how they're behaving, it changes the entire game. So I recommend electronics. What do you need for your electronics to actually work?
Leading me to my next point, which would be you charge your freaking batteries.
Please.
That means your phone battery.
Yep.
That means your camera battery. That means the battery for your motor if you have a motorized kayak. That means your battery for your headlamp, for your emergency lights, your safety lights, for your electronics. Like, just make sure that you have charged all your batteries. I spent 30 minutes plugging stuff in overnight, the night before, just because I just wanted to be prepared.
So real quick, I want to throw this in on the electronics front. Check your wiring. I had such a frustrating morning this morning, and so did a couple other people. So for me personally, I wasn't getting power to my head unit, and then I fixed that. Then my live scope wasn't turning on. So like, just check all your stuff, make sure that you're happy with it. Maybe dummy test it, maybe like beat it up a little bit, put it through the ringer, make sure it actually is going to work under pressure. Or after a 10-hour drive, like make sure nothing got messed up, which is what I think happened to me. So fire it up, make sure it works, make sure you're good. Otherwise, you're gonna be very mad.
The next thing I will say is minimum required equipment to be successful in a tournament. We're in a KBF tournament, that means you need a catch board. So I need a very specific board. I have to have a very specific identifier card in order to log any fish that I catch. I wasn't gonna fall.
Okay.
That would be the icing on the cake. So having the minimum required equipment is super important. That includes a cellular telephone that can connect to the internet and can take photos, right? So that is super important.
The last piece of required equipment that a lot of people forgot and had to go buy late last night, other than, well, two things that a lot of people had to buy and figure out last night. One, your fishing license if you're in a different state. So you're fishing in a different state, get a license, do it beforehand. You're gonna be mad if you don't. The other piece that a lot of people forgot is this right here. See this big orange flag? And ideally a light in case you anchor down in the morning. So it's low light in the morning. It's basically pitch black at 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m. when we're getting to the ramp and stuff, and we're trying to gear up and do all that. Even by the time it's 5:30 and we can go lines in on today's, or in the circumstance of our tournament, it's like 5:30 lines in. Even at that time, really low light. So you want to have that 360 light up there. Make sure the batteries are in it. We already talked about batteries. And when you anchor down, you're going to make sure that light's on. Otherwise, you have to have a flag all day. So make sure you have a flag. It's high enough. It sits somewhere where it doesn't bother you. Mine was whipping me in the face all morning today. It was so annoying. So I had to move it. So make sure you got track mounted, or you have a starport like a Railblaza. So make sure you've got a mountable one, and ideally don't drill a hole in your kayak the night before.
You might have water in your boat.
Main fishing. You got it figured out, it's all good.
And that flat leads me into a really important point that it probably should have led with, but is safety equipment. You must have a PFD, period, the end. There's no getting around that.
Optional safety equipment that can be helpful: walkie-talkie for communication, get a text group going with your team if it's a team-based thing. Walkie-talkie is nice though, like if you need to reach out to somebody for help and you have no signal. You know, otherwise you should have SOS available on your phone. You might want to whistle. There's plenty of other things that you go with. Knife, also great in case you get hung up. River tournaments especially, big deal.
And water.
And
Please,
water.
For the love of all that is, just bring some water.
Hydrate.
Like, bring some water. Gatorade is great, but like bring some water. You're gonna be, if you're in a tournament, you're likely fishing for at least 4 to 6 hours. That would be like kind of the minimum.
Yep.
4 to 6 hours on the water, especially in the summertime. You're gonna have some water, you gotta hydrate. Would not like to see you fall over asleep in your kayak from dehydration.
Yep, and on that note, you might also want some snacks. Bring some food. The number one
biggest turnaround.
The number one way to make sure you'll be mad is by going 6 to 7 hours with no water and no food. So if you want to be happy, if you want to have a good time, and especially if the fishing is frustrating, something that can turn you around complete 180 is a good snack, maybe some caffeine, and ideally some hydration. So
have a fish, but yeah, that too.
Also fish, but have those necessities. You will be so happy, and you'll regret it if you don't. Yeah. So make sure you got that.
Bonus, you need a friend. Bring a buddy. I'm telling you right now, the other thing that's not a snack and not a fish that can turn your day around is having somebody that you can either scream at, scream to, steal a bait from, or sing a song with. That is
make
facts
fun of,
on facts.
Laugh at, enjoy time with, right? It makes a big difference. If you're not in a team tournament, it's nice. Even if you're competing against each other, which we are,
loser.
I hope you lose. We can still like have some camaraderie, have some fun, hang out. I could be like, dude, I'm done today.
I can
like,
say
what do you
something
got?
like I did literally 10 minutes ago, which is I'm going home if you catch something on an A-rig, because I fished an A-rig for like 30, 40 minutes, couldn't buy a bite. Jeff throws it one time in the same place as me, fish. So maybe, you know what, don't bring a friend.
Yeah, never mind.
Other than like having all your fishing equipment and the right baits and all that kind of stuff, you have to be like mentally prepared to go into a tournament, and that is different than like just going on a fishing trip. Yes, when you go on a tournament, you just want to catch the most biggest fish, and that is the same as when you go fishing on your own. You want to catch the most biggest fish. Like that's what we're all doing here. That being said, when you don't catch the most biggest fish, there's not an element of pressure when you're just like fishing by yourself for fun. There is an element of pressure that you put upon yourself, or that other people put upon you when you are fishing in a tournament. Like, you want to do well. Look, set your expectations to the right degree. Don't expect that you're gonna catch your first 5 fish in 5 minutes and you're gonna be like, get your dub in the first 10 minutes. Like, that's too high of an expectation, and when you don't meet that expectation, you're going to be frustrated. Don't set them so low that you don't go or that you don't try hard. You have to know yourself. You have to know how you fish. Preparation can really help with this. Feeling like you're prepared when you go in, having a game plan, your 1, 2, and 3 spots, the 1, 2, and 3 baits that you think are going to be successful for the day. That's part of that mental preparation, so that when you get to the boat launch, you know exactly what you're gonna do, you're familiar with your equipment, you have everything you need to be safe and successful, you get on the water with a lot of confidence, but you're not so overconfident that you get frustrated later on in the day. So go, like, understand yourself and get in that right headspace that, you know, when you start to struggle, you're not gonna shut down. And just make sure that you're pumped up enough and you're confident enough to keep fishing all day, knowing that you have a chance to win.
Okay, obviously you need fishing rods and hooks.
What?
In order to catch fish, you need tackle. So you can see my tackle is behind me. We got Paul's tackle behind him. One thing I'll say, and Paul and I were talking about this, you gotta like play to your strengths. So make sure that if you overthink things, you pare it down. Go with less tackle. If you're like me, and you just need to have everything available just in case, and you're a kitchen sink angler and that's okay for you, and like that doesn't freak you out or get you frustrated sometimes, do that. Make sure you got everything that you need. So I have a lot of stuff with me. And it did help today. It did actually help me figure some things out. I felt comfortable trying things that I wasn't as confident with, just because I knew, like, hey, worst case scenario, I can just grab a jerkbait and then lose them.
Both of them.
Both of them.
Now I'm wondering whether you've lost more money this year on jerkbaits or bladed jigs.
This year, jerk baits. Last year, bladed jigs. So make sure you got the right amount of tackle, and ideally, if you watch previous videos that we've done on this tournament, you do your research ahead of time and talk to folks who fish that area, that they know what works, what doesn't for the time of season.
Use an app like the Omni app or whatever app that you use to do your like fishing research, right? That could be Google Maps. We use the Omni app. It actually worked super well. I was surprised at how well it worked. So we got out here and we said water clarity was going to be like low,
mid to clear,
in the middle, more on the clear side.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it was. We have like 8-foot visibility, 6-foot visibility in most places. We also were like, okay, the depths are going to be like this and this is where the drop-offs are, exactly where they said they would be. So that was actually a huge benefit. We knew like, hey, we're going to see a lot more ledges. So we had a lot more flipping baits. We had a lot more like Texas Carolina options that we may normally have, and it made a really big difference. So do your research, but use whatever tools you're comfortable with, obviously.
And then as far as the rods go, make sure you have the appropriate amount for the storage space that you have in your vessel, right?
That you can handle in your vessel. You can pack 15, it's possible, but like 8, I know that 8 is my limit. 8 is the limit that I can manage. 6 is what I normally manage very comfortably. I have 8 with me. I'm very comfortable. I have actually 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I have 8. I have 4 on the deck, 4 in the back. I have not had a problem. If I had one more rod,
it would have been too much.
And it would have broke.
I agree. Totally agree. 8 was pushing it at points during today. It was almost too many rods. Like I've got currently 4 or 5 on the deck.
Oh, really?
5 on the deck, 3 behind me.
Pushing it.
Yeah, well, I had to put a flag in that holster so it didn't whip me in the face all day. So I lost that spot. But yeah, so 4 or 5 up front, a couple in the back. If you're in a smaller kayak, don't take that many because you're going to lose them, or you're going to step on them, you're going to break them. It's all bad, right? So don't do that. So make sure you have the appropriate amount, and we've talked about this in our prep videos before. Make sure that you plan ahead as far as like, I need a heavy stick, I'm gonna go frogging, I'm gonna go flipping. Have those setups. You got a swim bait A-rig setup, like we had to have that. You got maybe a finesse setup, whatever you need, make sure you have the specifics so that you have the best shot at catching some dang fish. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. And obviously fun, but mostly fishing. All right, so you guys, hopefully this video was helpful. If it was, be sure to like and subscribe. That helps us out here a lot at the channel, and we appreciate you for doing so. Thank you so much for watching. We have a tournament to do tomorrow.
Don't wish us luck because it's happening tomorrow and you won't see this in time, but like if you could go back in time,
wish
me personally some luck. I'm the one who needs it. He's fine. I am on a historic dry run, so I need your like mental vibes. They can't just be peachy. They can't just be Arctic. I need success vibes.
Send successful vibes.
Last thing you needed for a tournament. Successful vibes.
Successful vibes. Last thing you need. All right. Thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you on the next video. Bye.